Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to answer your questions on relationships and heartbreak. I remember putting up an Insta story a long time ago saying that, we've all been through heartbreaks and breakups and everything. And is that something that you guys would want me to talk about? And a lot of you said yes. And finally, I felt like just sitting down and doing this chatty video. I have my cup of tea ready. I have actually given up caffeine, which is why I've been sleeping really well lately. But because this was going to be a very chatty video, I decided to just brew myself like a green tea so that I could just sip it and have like a nice real talk session with you guys. So without any further ado, I'm just going to dive right into it. So I received a lot of questions. Thank you so much everyone that sent in your heartfelt questions. Like, it's so nice to see all of you like open up in here, and I will try and answer as many as I can. It'll obviously not be possible for me to answer all of the questions, but I'll try and pick up the ones that are most frequently asked. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly pick up questions. I think I'm going to start from the beginning when everyone just started. Just for keeping this anonymous, I'm not going to put up everyone's name while I read out the question. I think it's not nice to do that. So someone asked, how do you overcome with heartbreaks, and do you at time feel the need of me time? Heartbreaks is something that each one of us at one point of time always go through, and you have to understand that when something happens between the two of you, it's not just something that you did, but also what that other person's situation was like. So you need to stop blaming yourself. And I feel like we as women, we always end up taking situations and putting the blame on us, and we tend to ruminate a lot about the situation, about how we could have done things otherwise, just so that, just to make that person stay. Maybe if I behaved a certain way, maybe that person would have stayed. Maybe, I listened to everything that he said, even if it wasn't who I was, maybe he would have stayed. I think you need to stop doing that. You need to let that person go. I know how hard it is to detach from a certain person, and that's where the heartbreak comes from, because you attach your happiness with that other person. So you need to detach your happiness from that person and make sure that it's you yourself that makes you happy. So make sure that you love yourself first, you love your company, you are happy with yourself, and it's not going to come easy. It's going to be a long process. It's going to be a step-by-step progression of self-love, where you realize that you have to put your needs first and your happiness first. And once you keep yourself busy with things that you are passionate about, you slowly and steadily stop thinking as much about your heartbreak. And it's also important during times of heartbreak that you seek out help. A lot of people think, that just keeping by yourself and not letting anyone know how you're going through is going to be the best approach. And I know that could be like the initial tendency, just to close yourself up, just to stop letting anyone know what your emotions are like right now, and just keeping that tough exterior alive. I feel like that's going to just eat you up inside slowly, and one day you're just going to wake up thinking, oh my god, I do not feel so great. And that's when you'll realize that you have isolated yourself. You do not have any friends anymore because you've just pushed them away because of your heartbreak. So you have to realize that you have to include people, seek help, go to therapy, go to counseling, make more effort to socialize with your friends, and also keep your friends closer, do things for them, what you expect them to do for you. And that way you will realize that spend more time with your friends, spend more time doing what you love. If you love painting, just go out and paint. If you love playing an instrument, just go and do that. Learn a new skill. Keep your head, like your mind space, busy. Exercise, eat well, and slowly and steadily, when you're happy with yourself, someone will recognize you, cherish you, value you, and you will get the relationship that you deserve. So it comes with a lot of patience and effort in maintaining self-love and just cherishing your own space, right? Okay, I just felt like I spoke too much in one go. And she also said, do you at time feel the need of me time? I think everything that I just said was all about me time, and it's very important. If you're not happy with yourself in your own me time, you cannot be happy with someone else. There's always going to be some sort of a clash or a conflict. So me time is so important. For me, something like cooking is really therapeutic. I love baking. I love making snacks for myself. Just binge watching Netflix at times is also such a nice me time for me. Just reading random articles on the internet is also very one of my favorite things to do. On like it's just a pastime, just reading up about anything and everything random. Playing around with makeup, playing around with colors is something that I also absolutely enjoy in my me time, and you need to inculcate that in your routine as well. Okay, so the next question is something that is very common: how to stop getting worried that you will never find the one. Okay, so first of all, stop looking for the one, stop searching. When the moment is right, when you are happy with yourself, out of nowhere it's just going to come right in your life. And sometimes because we're searching and looking somewhere else, we don't realize that the person that was going to be the one is right next to you, has been spending all his time and energy with you, but you never really realized it because you were out there chasing somebody else that never really valued you or cherished you or gave you the love that you desired. So I think finding the one is, first of all, the one doesn't really happen to be the one. I feel like just being in a perfect relationship needs a lot of work, a lot of communication, a lot of space, a lot of understanding, and basically that friendship needs to be there. So once you really create that good friendship, you can definitely find the one. Also, you can, if you're like really impatient, I would ask you to socialize more often and go to places where there are more people who have common interests as you. So if you like reading, go to a place that organizes like a group reading or a book exchange club, where you'll find someone who enjoys the same sort of books as you, and you might just meet the one. So you have to make an effort to get out there instead of just being cooped up in your own room and not making an effort. Like, you have to make an effort towards the interest that you're looking for. Okay, so someone said, how can you find a perfect partner and maintain the relationship? Again, I think I would repeat the same things that I said in my previous answer, that a perfect partner is something that you strive towards, and it's not something that you get immediately. It's something that takes work, it takes understanding, it takes proper communication, it needs space, it needs a lot of love, and you need to respect each other. When these sort of things just sync, you immediately get that feeling of that perfect partnership. And yeah, to maintain it, you just have to make sure that you have your boundaries set, and certain things that do not work for you needs to be properly communicated, so that there's no bickering, there's no argument later on. You clearly state what makes you feel loved. A lot of people have different love languages. I would highly urge that you find out your own love language. How do you feel love, and how do you give love? And if that kind of does not really match between the two of you, that's when a lot of mismatch happens. Most of the time, people's love languages are either physical touch or acts of services or gifting. So you need to figure out what works for you and what works for your partner. Sometimes you feel like, you're upset and you feel like you're not loved enough, but that person is really confused. They're like, I really love you, but I don't know why you don't feel that. And maybe he's doing that by acts of services, but your way of accepting love is maybe physical touch, where a hug, an embrace, or just a peck on the cheek reassures you and makes you feel like you're loved. But he does not really like physical touch. So that's when like the mismatch happens, and you need to figure out what works for the both of you. I would highly recommend that you study and figure out. There's a very easy quiz. I'm going to link it down below so that you guys can find out what your love language, and please leave them in the comments down below. Okay, so this is a good question. Is it okay to be friends with your ex's parents? I think it's not, but I feel like it's a personal choice. It also depends on what your dynamics were. But I would suggest that it's not really a good idea. The more you can distance yourself, I feel like the better it will be. because your ex might start dating someone new, and I don't want that to be an awkward situation for you or the parents. So yeah, just respectfully maintain your distance. Say your hello, say your happy birthdays once a year or happy new year, and that's about it. Just don't keep in touch, and don't go into their houses whenever you feel like, just because you're close. Okay, so the next question is, have you ever fell in love with a guy who loves another girl and considers you as his best friend? Oh my god, girl, you have been friend zoned, and that's one of the worst places to ever be. Being in friend zone is one of the most trickiest situations and one of the most awkward situation. I feel like unrequited love can soon turn into this really toxic mind space, and you feel like you're doing so much for this person and it's always unrequited, and you never really feel loved, yet you keep giving and giving and giving, and one day you realize that you're exhausted, and then the friendship also kind of just gets affected by that. And I think the only way to kind of get out of it is expressing yourself in such a way that it does not sound aggressive. It does not sound like you want immediate action, but more like just letting that person know. Most of the time, I feel like people are just clueless, and they are just comfortable with you, and they don't really understand where you're coming from. And I think communication, especially with men, is very, very important. They don't pick up these subtle signs that women usually give when we like someone, and I feel like the more you express yourself, the better position you will be in your head, because every time you will talk to him, it'll feel like a quest, and it's going to get exhausting real soon. And the sooner you express how you feel, the better you're going to feel. So yeah, good luck. Let me know how it goes. Okay, so a lot of you are asking me my experience with relationship, and it'll be great to hear and know me as a person. I feel like most of the stuff that I have spoken explains a lot about what I think about relationships. But relationship as a thing, or people that I am with, is something that I am strictly going to keep in my personal life. I know I have chosen to share a lot of my life, like publicly on a public platform, and all of that is in under like such strict scrutiny all the time. It's always criticized. It's Don't get me wrong, I get a lot of love as well, but something about the negativity just pierces through me. And if I ever read anything about someone I love, I really will not be able to take it, and I know for a fact that it's going to affect my work, and I will not let anything affect my work. So I'm going to keep my work and my personal life strictly personal. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about my relationships. Okay, this is a really good question. Is it okay to break up with someone if that relationship is affecting your mental peace despite being in love? Girl, get out. Cut off all communication. If it's getting toxic, you really need to be out of that relationship. Being in love is also sometimes an attachment, a state of being comfortable. Get out of that comfort zone. Your mental peace is so important. Taking care of yourself first is so important. If you don't want to detach yourself entirely, just try taking a month's break, a 2 months break, and just effective no communication, like zero communication whatsoever, will really clear up that clouded sense of judgment that you have for that relationship. You need to get out. Okay, someone said, how do you not get overly attached to one person and focus on work? It's so important, especially like if you're young. It's so easy to be infatuated, and you keep ruminating about this person, about something he said, and you are not able to focus on work. I think one of the things that works the best is just list down what are the things that you really like about that person, and list down the things that you don't like about that person. And I feel like when you physically write down stuff, you literally dump it out of your brain and you put it onto a piece of paper. And if it's someone that you do not like and want to get out of your brain, just like crumple that paper and throw it into the dustbin and just get into work. Get into the zone, get a goal, work towards it. And once you have a goal and ambition, you will immediately prioritize work. And one of the best possible ways to engage in self-love is to prioritize your work and never ever compromise your work for someone you love. And if that person is taking you away from that, I don't really think that's going to be a healthy relationship in the long run anyway. I don't think so a relationship should be a place where you're distracted from work. I think the both of you should push each other up so that you guys are both working harder individually and growing together instead of like just pulling each other up part. Yeah. Okay, so someone said, I liked a person before, never told him. Awkward situation. He left office. I didn't get a closure. What to do? Okay, closure is so important when it comes to relationships. And I feel like we often expect closure from the other person, but it's always the answer is most of the times within yourself. It's you who are going to give closer to yourself, and you're going to be like, you know what? Maybe I was just wasting my time. If that person really wanted me, he would show some signs that he wanted me. He would make the effort to come and spend more time with me, and he didn't. And I feel like his disinterest is my closure, and it's something that I actually found out or heard about in a Matthew Hussey video. So if you guys would want to go watch him, you should go do that. I think he gives great advice when it comes to relationships and heartbreaks and dating. Someone said, if you had boyfriend in the past, how did you tell your parents and what was their reaction? I've always been very, very open with my parents and my family in general. I really don't have any secrets. If I've had someone that I was dating, my mom is the first one to find out. She always knows who I'm into and who's broken my heart and everything. So we've always had this like friendly sort of conversation. She's often taken effort to kind of really make sure that I open up to her, because who else would understand me better than my mom? Sorry, my nose kind of got blocked. Yeah, who else would have understood me better than my mom? You know, so she's always kind of made an effort to figure out where I am emotionally, and I love that about her. And we are very open about most of the things. Okay, so someone said, how do you deal with long distance relationship? Because it's really very hard to manage. It is really, really hard. I cannot even imagine. But I think with long distance relationship, patience and effective communication is something that is so important. You need to find out ways to spend time together and apart from each other. So when I say spend time with each other, I feel like create some rituals that you guys would look forward to. Say for example, you're on Skype call and you like to watch like an episode together, and it's just you and him time, and it's just like a ritual. Or like every end of the week, you just have this Q&A session that you want to do with each other. Just tell them about how the week was, how do you feel about each other. I feel like communication is so important, and trust is very, very, very important in long distance relationship. You need to trust each other. You need to trust yourself in the relationship. You do not have any space for insecurity in a long distance relationship, and that will only happen when there is effective communication about how you are feeling about that other person at that very moment. And yeah, so long distance relationship is a lot of work, but also at the end of it, when you actually meet one another, it's one of the best feelings ever. Oh, someone said, why are you so busy? We miss you on YouTube. Please come back. I'm trying my best to be back. I'm trying really hard to be consistent again, and please be patient with me. I am definitely coming back. I feel like this month I've done so much better than the other months. How has being a YouTuber affected your relationship with your boyfriend, friends, family? My family and friends have been like so proud with everything that I have achieved. So being a YouTuber is one of the best things that has ever happened with me. So that's a nice question. Thank you so much for asking. So someone said, I feel it's really hard to trust any individual after a breakup and to fall in love again. I think it's pretty justified to say that it will take you some time, and you need to process and grieve properly and make sure that that person is totally out of your system before you can go ahead and love someone. I feel like, I don't know where I read this analogy, but it's like being in love with someone or loving somebody else is being a teacup full of tea. And when you give love to someone, you just pour your tea out into their cup. And if you do not love yourself and you are empty on the inside, you do not have any love to give to that other person. So you need to love yourself first. You need to value yourself first, for that other person to value you. And you also need to realize this, that you deserve love, and there are a lot of other people that you are going to equate even better than the previous one. I know how hard it can feel, and it's easier said than done, but good things are in store for you, and you need to believe that you deserve better. Have you broken someone's heart? I have, because this was back in school. One of my closest friends, he thought he was in love with me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot reciprocate that. And it got dragged around till we were in college, and I was like, I lost that friendship because I obviously did not feel the same way. And yeah, I definitely broke his heart. So sorry, you know who you are. I hope you're not watching this. No questions, just wanted to say hope you're okay and doing well post any breakup or any issue. I am actually really happy, and thank you so much for asking me. Physical abuse in relationships. Girls are sometimes scared to talk when they go through this. Listen, this is something that you do not need to be scared about, and the moment it happens, you need to get out. You're not someone that's going to heal that person. You're not that person's savior, and you're not that person's doormat, and you're not that person's punching bag, and you do not deserve this. You need to believe that you are a privilege to be with, and no one deserves to treat you this way. Okay, you need to get out. You need to tell people about this. You need to communicate. You need to, don't be scared. People are going to understand, and that person needs to be behind bars or something, because this is not acceptable whatsoever. Please make sure that if you guys have ever been through this kind of a situation, you have all of my empathy. If you want to talk to me, just slide into my DM and just tell me. If you feel like just venting, just write down paragraphs and send it to me on DM. Trust me, it's going to make you feel so much better. I feel like that's all I want to talk about in this video, and not make it too long. And I also don't want to lose all of your attention span, because I know you guys will not watch such a long chatty video. So I'm just going to put a full stop right here. If you guys want me to do this again, like a part 2 of it, please leave that in the comments down below. It was great actually just opening up to you guys and just talking about something that is so important to all of us. I think a relationship really defines us, especially like a healthy relationship. When you see someone in a healthy relationship, you can tell how strong they are emotionally and mentally, and it defines a lot of their things that they do in their day-to-day lifestyle. It really changes the way you feel, you behave. And yeah, we are social animals, and who we are with our partners greatly affect the way we kind of behave with other people, and the way we behave at work and everything else. So I really want you guys to be happy and to know that you deserve love, and you are one of a kind. You are amazing, you're hardworking, you're determined, you have achieved so much in your life, and don't let some fuckboy ruin your life, right? So get out of that relationship if it's not making you happy. Stay in that relationship if it's the perfect thing and if it's the best thing that has ever happened to you. Make sure that you work hard to maintain that relationship. Make sure that you respect each other. Make sure that you're always truthful. Make sure that you're honest. Make sure that you always praise each other, that you leave voice notes saying amazing things, telling them how much you appreciate them, or just leaving like random letters somewhere telling them how much you appreciate them. So yeah, I hope you guys are all doing amazing. I hope you guys liked this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you tap on the bell icon, because apparently otherwise YouTube doesn't let you know if I upload a new video. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.